Hi guys, welcome back to Hoarder's Heart. On this episode, we're going to be doing a Q&A and I'm going to be answering your questions. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by and checking me out. I'm a hoarder and a recovering one at that. And normally, I show you the messes and I tell you my mental struggles. And we declutter the hoarded rooms in small sections at a time so that I can keep my anxiety calm and make good decisions to let things go and make decluttering a positive experience. Now, this is a very exciting episode, right? Because last week I had a video that I released that I said, ask a hoarder, and I wanted to know what your questions were. Well, I was like through the moon excited that there was like 200 comments. And I was like, holy moly, this is actually really great because the intention behind this channel is to humanize hoarding disorder. So you really truly can understand the mentality. And to do that, we have to ask questions so we can open up the conversation so that people can really, learn about it, right? And when we start to learn about it and when we start to understand it, people will start to find compassion for people. And people who struggle with hoarding disorder start to feel accepted and loved. And we can start to find healing in our disorder. And we can also find healing in our relationships. So guys, I'm gonna dive right in. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so I received a ton of great questions and I really had to confine it down to about 10-15. And I picked the questions that had the most energy. It had a lot of likes and other people were replying yeah, I'd like to know that too. So I picked those questions. And I also saw a theme with a lot of questions. You guys were asking very similar questions, but just worded it in your own way. So I tried to find the similar themes so that I could answer them as well. So let's dive in. Question 1. What inspired you to start cleaning and decluttering? Katie Sewell. There's also a few other ones who were asking this too. And I remember Goldfish and Snake had asked that as well because, oh, you always leave me the best advice and comments. So what inspired me to really start? Well, I've been wanting to start forever, right? And I just didn't know where to begin. I felt defeated. I felt like this is too much. It's overwhelming. But what deciding point really made me see it and wanted to declutter was that it was a few years ago before I started this channel. And my oldest son excitedly wanted his best friend from Cub Scouts to sleep over. My son had slept over their house and now, he really wanted him to sleep in his house. Well, it was kind of a hard-hitting thing because I was like, oh yeah, sleepover. And then I looked at his room and I looked all over and I'm like, well, where's this child gonna sleep? On top of stuff? On top of crap? That's not right. I can't do that. And it was when I really opened my eyes, but wow, this is kind of bad. I don't even have room for another child to sleep in his room or in a messy living room. And I just felt this shame because I thought, oh no, I gotta do better for my kids. This is my kids' childhood. What am I doing? I want them to experience sleepovers. I want them to have the freedom to have their friends over and not feel ashamed and mortified. And I don't want to have to explain to their parents yeah, I'm a hoarder and it's a hot mess, and then them being well, my child's not allowed to play with your child. Those were the fears that really just ignited it. We got to start. We really got to start decluttering. We really got to start to change my lives for my children. I want my children to have a better life than me. Question 2. Nothing to do with hoarding, but what is your career? From Tasha Hargrove. Well, believe it or not, I manage storage facility properties. Yes, storage places, I manage them. And I kind of think it was ironic that it's that's kind of my career, but it's actually been very helpful because I do run into people who have family members that were hoarders and they're trying to empty out the house, or somebody who is a hoarder and they just need to put their stuff somewhere. And it actually kind of, I feel is aligned with me right now because I'm actually able to help those people and let them know they're not alone and that I understand them. Question number 3. I'm also very interested in your family background. My grandma was a major hoarder, coffee addict. Now, this question really did line up with a lot of other people's questions as well. Just wondering how I was raised, who else in my family is a hoarder. And when I was a little girl, My mom was very OCD, clean. Very OCD clean, and my dad was very tidy as well. But the house as a child was almost too clean that it was like a museum. And I only felt like, I don't want to say that I felt like I belonged, but I felt like my room where my stuff is and where I could play and be myself, and I didn't have to worry about breaking anything or sitting or staining anything, was where I could express myself. And that also kind of brings forth where I kind of have my kids, like there's toys in the living room, there's toys kind of everywhere, because I want them to feel like every space in their home is theirs, you know. And it was just how my mom was, you know. She didn't know anything about it. That was who she was. Now, I do have an aunt who has hoarding disorder. Love ya. But she did. And the thing is I have wonderful memories in her house, right? I have wonderful memories in her house playing with my two cousins. She used to watch me while my mother worked full time. And because there was always so much stuff and there was so much freedom to be a kid, and there was just, I just felt like I could be free to be me in a sense, because she kind of let us just play in every single room. And that's just the mentality I had as a child. And all that stuff made me feel safe, right? It was always fun to go to my aunt's house to play with my cousins. It was where I was happy, and there was always a lot of stuff in her rooms too. And I just associated that with happiness and security and my childhood. Question number 4. Are your husband or your boys embarrassed to invite friends over to your house because of your messes? JM1. Well, truthfully, my boys were not embarrassed because it's kind of all they've known. So to them, you know, they didn't really think it was anything different. So no, my boys have never been embarrassed. My husband has, though. There has been a few instances where his friends have come over in the past, and I know our moving day from our apartment to our house now, it was just so much stuff packed into that little apartment. And I know that he sometimes to this day gets a little teased by the guys by that, about how much stuff we have. And that kind of sucks. Sorry. I mean, it does. Like, it sucks to kind of admit that, you know, but his friends have kind of teased him a little bit, just jokingly, but you know how guys are. And it's kind of another reason why I kind of fueled my passion to really start to, you know, declutter and start to let go. And that way I don't have to embarrass him anymore. And it just really shows how much he loves me, to put up with it. So the least I could do is at least, you know, make the right steps into decluttering. Now this next question is another question from JM1. She had a lot of really good questions that a lot of you were asking the same. So I'm going to read it off the card right here. And she said, did you ever regret getting rid of an item after re-watching your old videos? I had a few questions like that. And the truth is that I do not. I do not regret anything that I let go of from previous videos. The only reason why I don't regret anything that I let go of is because I never forced myself to let go of something that I was not ready to let go of. And that's why I have no regrets. And that's why I've been able to come this far. You see, when I make a decision to let go of something, I go by my gut, and I go by my gut feeling and my heart and what my heart is telling me. And I don't go by logical questions like, have I used it? You know, you haven't touched it in like 5 years. You know, you can buy another one because it was under $20. I don't go by logic. I go by my gut feeling inside. I'm a very intuitive person. I've always been like that. And we'll just take the Sandy bag, for instance, from my last video in the basement. I felt comfortable letting that bag go because the decision was made from my heart and my gut. And my gut was telling me as I was holding it, and I could feel the internal battle of me, well, I want to hold on to it because Sandy has passed and it's her handwriting. And then it's like, no, I know Sandy would not want me to hold on to this bag. I know that. I know that she would want me to be free of it. because she knew what a free spirit I was. And she would be like, no, don't let that bag trap you. I'm here with you. You don't need to hold on to it. I'm rooting for you. I want to see this, happen for you where you can free yourself of hoarding. And that was what my gut and my intuition was telling me. So my heart was okay to let it go. I think that's very important in hoarding disorder and your healing too. That's why I've come this far. I never forced myself to get rid of something I wasn't ready to. I only got rid of stuff that my heart felt ready to let go of and I made peace with. Question 6. When you declutter and come across the Dalmatians, you say they ramp the hoarding in response to bullying. Do they actually bring you good memories? From Anna McDowell. I have some of the pieces from that era of my time. A lot of the hoarder was triggered in middle school and then later in high school. Middle school because I was bullied very, very badly. A little older, like 17 to 19, because I had a very, very abusive boyfriend. I mean, abusive. It was horrible. It was the worst experience of my life. Every horrible thing that a man can do to a woman, he did to me. And I hold on to these kind of things, right? It does remind me of that time period, but it's almost like my trophy, because when I was surrounding myself with this to cope with the anxieties and the fears and, depression and stuff, these things brought me comfort and joy and happiness. And I was kind of like that little girl in her bedroom again, imagining and playing. And I never really grew out of that mindset of just, being lost in my own little world. And they're kind of trophies that I was strong enough. I was strong enough to get through the bullying. I was, strong enough to finally get away from that abusive boyfriend. And they kind of represent the strength that I had within me to, come through the other side. And that's kind of why I still kind of hold on to it, Of course, when I first open it, it's like, oh, I feel that memory of being scared. And then it self-soothes me, right? The stuff is a coping mechanism for all those emotions. Question number 7, and is my lucky number, and it was the most popular question, was, do you find yourself sliding back to hoarding from time to time? Do you have to consciously decide to not buy something? From Erica Lucas. Hey girl, hey. So the answer to your question is yes, I do. Every day. Every day I have to make a conscious decision to stay out of my trigger stores like Hobby Lobby, Ulta. I have to make sure that I pass yard sales and not stop. I have to make sure that on trash day, I'm not eyeing something up that I can create into a new project. Yes, I do every day. It's how my mind has been wired since for as long as I can remember, and I have to make a conscious decision that I'm not going to do that. Now, is it getting easier? Yeah, it's getting easier. Over time, it's getting easier. The habits are starting to get stronger. I think it will be something that I have to be mindful of for the rest of my life. But I just feel like it's not going to be as much of a struggle. I kind of look to my friend who has been sober for 8 years. Love you. You know who you are. And she is at a point in her life now where she can go to a happy hour or the bar and make the decision to not drink and be okay with having a non-alcoholic drink. And it's not to say that it's not a thought in her mind that she has to think, no, I don't have to, I'm not going to drink this. But I think the decision is a little easier for her to make. And I'm kind of feeling that's where I'm going to be a few years ahead of now, because you guys have seen me change a lot in the past 2 years. Things that were very hard for me to let go of are now all of a sudden being a lot easier because my heart's being able to let it go, and I created these habits of decluttering. So I think it gets easier, but I think it's something that I probably, will have to think about in the future too. All right, guys, so that was questions 1 through 7. And I think because I have a lot of questions that I really do want to answer for you guys, I'm going to make this a 2-part series. So next time we'll be answering questions 8 through 15. I really hope that this guys kind of helped you understand hoarding disorder a little more. So guys, I think I am going to wrap up this video, and I just want to say, man, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.